Welcome to the Indomitable Podcast. If this is your first time, I'm Dom, and this podcast is for people who are tired of surface level conversations. This space is for people who want to grow into who they're meant to be, leaders in their homes, their careers, and their lives. Whether you're a parent, a spouse, a professional, or just someone chasing purpose, this podcast is for people who want to be better and are bold enough to face themselves in the process. Today we're talking about a message that hits deep. While being a man isn't about money, it's about presence. What if I told you your paycheck doesn't make you the head of your household? Your presence does. And your absence is costing your family more than you realize. There was a time I thought money was the answer to everything. I believed if the bills were paid and the fridge was full, I was doing my job. I was making decent money, around $85K, more than I'd ever made at the time, but the truth, my house was falling apart. The truth is, I didn't know who I was. I was raised in a single-parent home. My stepfather was present, but silent. And my mother did everything she could, but no matter how strong she was, a woman can't teach a boy how to be a man. So I learned manhood from TV, music, porn, from actors who didn't know me and didn't care about what their image was doing to me. So I had to become a man built on noise. A false identity, and one I created to survive, not lead. I thought strength was yelling, that fear would earn me respect, that being the loudest man in the room made me powerful. But inside, I was weak, broken, scared, and alone. I was becoming a tyrant in my own home. My son was acting out in school. I'd get calls from his teachers every week, and I'd react the only way I knew how, yelling, punishment, shutting them down, but I never stopped to ask why. I never slowed down long enough to see what was hurting because I was absent. I lacked confidence and my son mirrored it. My wife and I, we weren't aligned. I didn't know what real communication looked like. I was physically home, but emotionally unavailable. I dropped the ball. There wasn't a single event that woke me up. There was just a moment when I couldn't pretend anymore. The man that I was projecting wasn't who I was inside, and I couldn't carry that mask another day. Then I had a conversation with my cousin. I was frustrated, complaining, making excuses, and though I don't remember exactly what she said, I'll never forget what I heard. You're the only person keeping you where you are. That shattered me. I blamed everyone, my past, my parents, my wife, my job, but for the first time in my life, I took responsibility. I realized that if I was the problem, I could also be the solution. That was the beginning of surrender, not to people, not to performance, but to truth. I sat my family down and I told them I failed you. I told my wife that I had been unfaithful. I told my kids that I had been present. I told them that I was going to change. And here's the wild part. This transformation didn't start when I was at my financial best. It started when I had nothing left to hide. Came clean to my wife, and I was conflicted as to why she didn't leave. I prayed, and for the first time, I heard God say, "That's how I love you, but greater, all forgiving." That's when I accepted Jesus, not as a belief, but as the Lord and Savior of my life. And everything shifted. I learned what love really is through my wife's forgiveness, but I only received it because I was finally believed that I was worth loving. And that's when I started lying to myself. Stopped lying to myself. Ephesians 5:25 says, "Husbands, love your wife as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her." That's not passive love, that's sacrificial, intentional, protective. It doesn't say provide like Christ. It says love like Christ. That's emotional, spiritual, daily leadership. Provision isn't just financial. To provide means to make available for use and to make adequate preparation for what's to come. That means showing up emotionally, spiritually, practically. You set the tone. If you're disconnected, your house feels it. If you bring stress, your wife feels it. If you carry insecurity, your kids inherit it. You want your house to change? Then change needs to show up in front of you. I know men who are crushing it financially, 7-figure businesses, vacations, and yet when you look in their eyes, they're hollow. Their kids barely speak to them. Their wives feel more like roommates than partners. They gave their family everything except themselves. And here's the real tragedy. They think they're doing the right thing, and that's because we've been lied to. We're taught that if we provide financially, we're doing our part. But that lie is robbing your family of the real you. And deep down, you know it. So, real-time challenge. Let me ask you, what would your wife say if someone asked, do you feel emotionally safe with your husband? What would your son say if someone asked, what does a good man look like? Would their answers reflect who you think you are or who you actually are? Because if your only metric of success is money, you're measuring with the wrong ruler. Here are 3 small, powerful shifts that changed everything for me. 1, check in daily. Ask your wife, can I help you with anything? Ask your kids, how are you feeling today? These small check-ins build trust, safety, and an emotional connection. 2, be fully present. No phones at dinner. Look people in their eyes. Your presence speaks louder than anything you could ever say. I get it. You want to decompress after work, but your family's been waiting on you. They're not looking for your leftovers. They're looking for their protector, their king. And when you walk in drained and distant, the whole atmosphere shifts. 3, lead with humility. Own your mistakes. Say sorry. Ask for forgiveness. Not to look weak, but to lead strong. When the head of the household admits fault, it teaches everyone that growth is safe and possible. These aren't big things, but over time they transform everything. The turning point in my life didn't come from reading more books. It came from reading more books or hitting new sales goals. It came from surrender. Surrendering my pride, surrendering the image that I had built, and surrendering to Jesus. Not as a Sunday checkbox, but as the actual king of my life. That's when things changed. That's when I became the man my family could count on, not just financially, but spiritually and emotionally. And guess what? When I changed, they changed. My son found his voice. My daughter became fearless. My wife stepped right fully into her light. Not because I told them to, but because I finally showed them what love looks like when it's real. Now I know this. And now, however I am, the house is. If I'm calm, they're calm. If I bring peace, they feel safe. And yes, there's still scars, and we're healing, but healing starts with honesty. So let me ask you, what lies are you telling yourself? What false identity are you hiding behind? What would happen if you dropped the mask? Because your family doesn't just need your money, they need you, your heart, your leadership, your love. That's real provision. That's what they've been waiting for. If this hits you in the chest, good. That means that it's time to level up. Not by grinding harder, but by being more present, by leading from within. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Drop a comment. Tell me what spoke to you. And if you're ready to go deeper, I've got something for you to grab. Grab my 7 steps to overcome your mind. It's practical, safe, faith-driven, and built to keep you from breaking your mental health strongholds that have been holding you back. Click the link below to get it and join a community of growing men and women who are doing the inner work every day. Follow me. We're walking this path together, step by step, day by day, becoming who we were always meant to be. Until next time, stay rooted, stay present, and never forget real change starts within.